All right, I'm on, and it is Star Trek Lower Decks time. What's up, everybody? And welcome to your Thursday edition of your Lower Decks spoiler review. This week's episode is Cupid's Errant Arrow, Season 1, Episode 4. Let me know in the comments how you are enjoying the show so far. I'm kind of digging it. It's not the best thing since sliced bread, but it's entertaining enough. It's something that I can do between classes on my Thursday, okay? Because I teach, guys. That's my other job. And so it's a quick 20 minutes where I can just take my mind off of things during my hour-long break, and then I can talk about it with you guys. And we're just to come back. That's when I'm gonna get really excited when Discovery comes back. And I got a bit of news towards the end here, if you guys stick around, which some of you may like. But let's get to this, which is this episode. My initial thoughts are that it was okay. It didn't really do it for me that much. Okay, there were a lot of screaming. There was a lot of screaming. A lot of really, they went back to that really quick pace that I didn't like that much from the first episode. What can I say? I'm an old fogey. I like a bit more setup, a bit more character development. And although this episode did try to give us some character development, it seemed like it was just trying to fit in as many jokes as possible per second as they could, which I don't know, doesn't always work for me. So Cupid's Errant Arrow, the plot, I'm just gonna go over it real quick. Like, I guess it's the A plot dealing with the high-ranking officers, is that there's this moon that's about to blow. So Starfleet was sent out there with its sister ship, the Vancouver, to do a controlled demolition of this moon. Except that the people on the moon are not exactly happy about it. Okay, they have all different reasons that they don't want this moon to blow up because they pray to it. Some people have property on that moon. Ends up that one of the characters actually they say that it blocks the pollution from this other planet. So what are we gonna do? Are you gonna kill us or kill the other planet? Whatever. It's I didn't really dig the A plot that much. What was nice is that we got to see another ship, the Vancouver, which gives us a little bit more of an idea of what the Cerritos is all about. Because the Cerritos is just an old ship. It's not the best in the fleet, and it explains why their officers aren't really the best in the fleet also. And they continued the something that I did like is that they continued the same style as last week, showing us that the Cerritos is just the wacky ship and all the wacky stuff happens on this ship. So for me that melds a little bit more with kind of the canon of Star Trek. Although I'm not one of those canon nerds, okay? Trust me, I'm not. But there's got to be at least some gelling, right? So we can't have everybody on this show act like a nutcase, because then if they say this show is canon, well, how come nobody ever acts like a nutcase outside of this show? So I like that these people were more or less serious on the Vancouver. They were smart, but they were and a few a little bit snarky, but they were cool. So we got to see the Vancouver. I thought it was a really beautiful ship, and you see here that these two, Rutherford and my girl, oh my God, yes, I was doing so well. I forgot her name, guys. Is it Nettie? Okay. I figured that would happen. But let's go. That would be Tendi. Yes, Devana Tendi. Okay. I'm almost there, guys. 90%. Okay. So they really love this ship. They're geeking out over this ship and how cool it is. And they had kind of a subplot too, which I'm kind of gonna just skip over. I didn't think it was that interesting. But they meet with one of the lieutenants. I think it was a lieutenant. I'm pretty sure I saw two pips who wants them to work on the ship engineering wise, and it ends up that we find out that he wants to transfer these two to the Vancouver, but really he wants to transfer himself over to the Cerritos because living on the Vancouver is too insane. That's similar to something I was talking about in a couple episodes ago, where it's nice, the idea of lower decks. Maybe it was in the first episode. Just this idea of seeing what everybody else has to go through when the ship is going into hyperdrive every week. You know, they're either traveling through time or they're meeting up with some spatial anomaly that's going to tear the ship into pieces, or the Borg are coming, or they're being attacked by some ship that they don't know what it is or how to beat it. So it's like every week, or they're getting held by a green hand in space, like Star Trek, the original series. There's so many ways that the Enterprise or even Voyager, but I think Enterprise even more, because Voyager, okay, they kind of got it. We got sent over to the other side of the galaxy, so we kind of figure every week we're gonna have some crap happening. But with the Enterprise, okay, it's supposed to be sort of like a routine. It's the flagship, but you figured it'd have some more routine sort of missions, and they don't. So this character brought that up. He's like, I gotta get off the ship, I just need to do simple stuff and get me off. But I don't know. This subplot didn't really get my attention that much. Neither did the one about blowing up the moon. The story that drove this story was the fact that Boimler, my boy Boimler here, which I was kind of missing him. Like I said, when I first got into this show, I thought that he was going to be the lead, but quickly we saw that it's Mariner who's the lead, okay? Or at the very least, they would be co-leads, because I really like him. I think he's such a cool character, and I love the two of them together. They work really well off of each other, because she's super wild and he's super square. So when they're together, I think it's real magical, and it makes the show work. In the last couple episodes, he's been kind of sidelined. So this was a Boimler episode, but with Mariner right on top of him, because we find out he's got this girl that's 100% in love with him, and Mariner can't believe it. How could somebody be in love with this dude? Because he's so square. But that's exactly what's happening. Okay, and it worked. They actually had a lot of good lines because she's going insane. And it ends up that when he meets with this girl Barbara on the Vancouver, there's a this other guy that she knows from Cerritos who's like this big buff dude, and he gets all anxious about it. And he has a great line where he describes the guy as a Kirk Sunday with a Trip Tucker with Trip Tucker sprinkles. Great line that they put on there. They had a lot of callbacks on this episode, but I think this is the first Enterprise callback that I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they had callbacks pretty much for every series in this episode, including, which I believe is my next slide here, if you're following along, even Star Trek 4 with the whale, because Mariner is convinced that it's impossible that this human could actually be in love with Mariner. So she's got to be some type of a alien, a shapeshifter. She's got to be something other than just a human in love with him. So this is kind of cool because it shows a little bit of dimension in these two, whereas yeah, she's got some feelings. She got jealous. She's kind of saying that no, I'm doing this because I'm protecting my friend. But she went wild. So who knows, guys? Are we shipping these two? I read in one of the Star Trek forums that the show is trying hard to ship these two, but really everybody wants to see Tendi and Rutherford together, which I agree, but they're not so dynamic. They're just a cute couple. They would make a cute couple, but there's not a lot of dynamics going on there as compared to Mariner and Boimler because they are so opposite. But I love the callback to the whale, and I see a little Bigfoot on the left there too, which is nice, and the Salt People from TOS. So we have a whole bunch of cool stuff that she put on the wall. And in a way, this is kind of a callback to the X Files. So maybe it's a double callback even outside the show. I wonder if the X Files was, if anybody in Starfleet is a fan of the X Files, I should say. And my favorite callback is this. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. When Mariner says she served on Nikito, Nikito seems to be docking at DS9. And she explains that the reason she's so worried about Boimler is because she had a friend while she was there who was dating the perfect guy who ended up being a shapeshifter. And it ate her friend, which was bloody disgusting, but I kind of dug it. So this whole story, I thought it was kind of cool. It culminates with her and the girlfriend Barbara fighting each other. Barbara is getting really upset with Boimler because he's trying to show that he's like real cool and way cooler than the guy that he sees her with. But in the end, she's like, no, I love you for you. You're my boy, blah, blah, blah. And it ends up, though, that as Mariner and Barbara are fighting over Boimler, okay, they bond. They bond. He gets knocked out. You've seen the episode, hopefully, so you know what happened. And there's a little parasite on him because Mariner did find a parasite. She thought the girl was a parasite, but she wasn't. And she gets a. They discover that this parasite had attached himself to Boimler, and it puts out these pheromones, which makes him attractive to people. So that's the reason that the girl was with him. So poor guy. It ends up that they weren't really together because of him, even though he's such a cute guy, such a nice guy. But that wasn't the real reason why they were together. So an all right little plot line, right? At least it moved this possibility forward of Mariner and Boimler being together. As far as I guess what was supposed to be the A plot, the show opened on this. And by the way, did they not have a little cold open this week, or did I miss it? I didn't see it. I kind of just started right from the theme song for me. So tell me if there was a little cold open that I missed. In this story, okay, there's this one guy who's asking the captain to hold out, don't destroy the planet, and it ends up because he has a house there with his wife. Or not the planet, the moon. And he says it's because I'm rich, and then she's just like, blow up the moon, and not much happened here. It was kind of like a stupid A plot. This I guess it would be the C plot with Rutherford and Tendi also was kind of dumb. The lieutenant wanted them to stay on the ship, but he was going to transfer himself over. And yeah, for me, it didn't go anywhere, except that, again, another great episode with these two together. They're cute together. They're not exciting together, but they are cute together. So if we're gonna ship anybody, it's gotta be these two mega nerds. They are so cute, mega nerds. So I'd like to see Tendi and Rutherford kind of get together. And by the way, did anybody notice the speaking of callbacks, where is it? I gotta find it. Oh, there it is. When Boimler is walking onto the to the ship and onto the van, this teddy bear with Geordie LaForge glasses on. It was so cute. I thought it was adorable. But that was a nice little another little callback. But that's it, guys. Tell me what you thought of this episode. Like I said, I don't think it was the best one, but they can't all be great, right? And for me, also, there's just way too much screaming and just it's just annoying when the character starts screaming because there was the fight going on between Mariner and Barbara, because Barbara thought Mariner was some type of an alien too because she's like destroyed. So, not a huge fan of that. But I'll be here next week. So let me know what you think or what your thoughts were. Are there any callbacks that you really liked that I missed? And I'm sure there's like a million that I missed. So let me know what you think about that, and let me know what you think of the series so far. This is, I think, the halfway point, right? Because aren't we doing 10 episodes? So this may very well be the halfway point for the series. Now, on to the other news. It's I don't know if you guys follow a guy on YouTube. His name is Kalowski, I think, and he does a Star Trek podcast, which is really cool. He's a really nice dude. And he's usually pretty fair, right? In terms of. Oh, I hate when I think of things last minute and then I have to. And then I have to search it out, guys, because I totally forgot to get this. I want to get his name right, I think it's fair that I should say his name right. But anyhow, he just put out such a cool video where he tried to prove, as if we needed any proof, that a lot of these anti-Trek folks, Ketwalski, either Ketwalski or Ketwalski, but anyway, he's got a great channel. And so he put out this really funny video where he was showing how these guys, like, there's a Doomcock and Midnight's Edge, and there's that little girl with the red hair too, who thought she was the most insane out of them all, because I remember I watched one of her videos, one was enough, where she was saying that the Red Angel was connected to her because her hair is red, and I think the producers are listening to me in my criticisms or whatever. And you can sort of tell when somebody's joking, and I don't think she was joking. I think these people are really that insane. So, what did he do? And what did they do actually before what he did? Is these folks, they're it's like the season Star Trek Discovery's been canceled since season 1, according to these folks. So, uh, he they get a lot of their information from a lot of unreliable sources. They all say they have these sources. My source confirms that this is true. So according to them, Discovery shouldn't even be on the air. Star Trek Picard, same things. They're not going to have a season 2. Star Trek, what's the one that we're not? It's taking the longest to do. Section 31's never happening. Nothing's happening in the Star Trek universe, and Star Trek's a complete failure, and that it is what it is. Okay, even this show is a complete failure. So we're just never gonna have any more. And eventually, one of these shows are gonna bomb. One of these shows is going to bomb, and then they're going to be like, "Told you so," because that's just the nature of the beast, right? Every show can't be a hit. So eventually, we're going to have a Star Trek Enterprise, which is and it's only going to run for 4 seasons instead of seven, and then they're gonna say, "Ha, I told you so." Um, but this is their MO, that Star Trek is just sinking. And the complete opposite is true. You may not enjoy it. Maybe some of you out here in the audience, I don't know why you'd be watching my Lower Decks podcast, but maybe some of you out here in the audience don't like the new Star Trek. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean that it isn't popular. Because there are plenty of folks that are watching it. The same way that maybe some of the younger generation can't sit through TOS. I've been in Star Trek groups, I'm in a bunch of them, where there's a bunch of people that say, oh, TOS is just terrible. I can't watch it. There's folks that hate TNG. There's folks that hate, I don't know, Voyager, DS, like whatever. So it's okay to hate a Star Trek show, by the way, guys. You're still a Trekkie if you don't like a Star Trek show. There's plenty to be had, plenty of different variations of Star Trek for you out there. So, this boy Ketvalsky, what does he do? He decided to get together with this dude and plant fake stories on 4chan, because that's where all these guys are getting their information. So, he set it up so that it got picked up by these Doomcocks and Midnight Edges, and there's that other guy too that really hates Star Trek, Nerdotic, or something like that. Um, Again, I think I watched one episode. I was like, wow. I mean, you can't find one redeeming quality of this show, so I don't know. I would just stop watching. Paid. I think Nerdotic, however the fuck you pronounce his name. I don't know if he works for an organization, so maybe they're paying him to actually watch. Like as a critic, then you have no choice. You have to watch. But if you're actually forcing yourself to watch, I guess he gets views. That must be it. Because I couldn't do that. If like I told you in the first episode here of this Lower Decks podcast, I said if I start to dislike the show, I'm just gonna let you know, like, guys, don't have the energy to sit here every week and do a podcast on a show that I don't like. And sorry. I hope you find a place where you can commune in liking the show. Okay? Not that I'm against criticism, like tonight's episode. Um, so he puts this stuff on 4chan and it gets picked up. And they actually start believing it. And they start talking to amongst each other. And this guy Doomcock actually picks up the story, which I think is that Star Trek Strange New Worlds was going to be canceled or something. I forgot what it was exactly. And he says, Doomcock says, my source said that this is probably true. Like, I can't confirm it, but it's similar. They always leave a little bit of wiggle room, but it's similar to what my source may have said. So, it just, guys, be smart, right? These guys dislike the show, which is their right. They can have every right to dislike the show. But they spread so much false news, fake news. That's the part where it really sucks. Okay, you don't like the show? Give me critical reasons why you dislike the show, and that's it. You don't need to spread these false rumors about how the show is failing. Uh, One, because then it makes your criticism really be baseless, because it just shows that you have this real hatred and bias. And two, it's just not cool, right? It's not cool to be spreading fake news about something. Uh, you can, there's shows that aren't successful, and I'm not gonna, like the OA. I really, really like the OA. Why would I spread fake news saying, oh no, they're actually gonna pick up a third season of the OA? Guess what? They're not. Second season just didn't do it for that show. Okay, Netflix said, hey, we're not getting the viewership. It got canceled because it cost a lot of money. And by the way, guys, it cost a lot of money to make DOA, so Netflix canceled, like they have been doing with a couple of shows in the last month or so, because that's how you do business. If a show is not getting viewership, they're not going to renew it. And I can assure you that Star Trek Discovery is a way more expensive show to produce than the OA. Okay, the OA had a few real crazy special effects episodes, but it's nowhere near the level of Star Trek Discovery or Picard or anything that's sci-fi, because you're basically every shot is a special effects shot, because you need to make it look like they're out in space and and in the future. So it's expensive to do this, okay? So I very much doubt CBS would have gotten to a season 3 and saying we are already working on a season 4 if the show wasn't generating some money for them somehow, some way, okay? So that's what I got to say about that. So congrats to Kit Valsky for infiltrating the 4chans and making these guys out to look as dumb as they are. If you got valid criticisms, then state them. And we can have a nice conversation about valid criticisms. Like, I am not a big fan of Michael Burnham on Star Trek Discovery. She's not my favorite character. But I have my valid, or at least I think they're pretty valid criticisms based on what they do with her character. But I think the show also has some bright spots, which makes me watch it. I think it got better season 2 and has the potential to be really great in season 3, which would actually fit into most of Star Trek, right? Because most Star Trek shows, minus the series, which came out of the gate really good, classic level, TNG, Voyager, and DS9 all had rough seasons 1, 2, and 3 was like, oh, 4 was when, boom, floodgates open. And I guess I haven't finished all of Enterprise yet, but from what people say, it's kind of similar with Enterprise, except I know a few people don't like the third season. Apparently, there's a Shindy storyline. I haven't finished all of Enterprise, guys. I've watched almost all of Star Trek minus Star Trek Enterprise. So yes, be critically minded, guys. It's Star Trek here. Kind of the point of the show is be critically minded and weigh things and have a scientific approach, if you want to call it that, to how you go about things. All right. So much love to you guys. Comment below. Tell me what you thought of this episode. Tell me what you think about these Doomcock guys and these Midnight Edges of the world. Hopefully their time has passed, but I guess not. They still have viewers. And I guess one day when Star Trek Discovery ends in season 5 or 6, I think they only want to go 5 seasons anyway. But maybe it'll end on season 5. They'll be like, aha, I told you it was a failure. Or Star Trek Picard, this is the funniest one. I just said goodbye, but I gotta say this one about Star Trek Picard. Somebody posted a story. I think is We Got This Covered, which is the worst site ever. But anyway, rumor that Star Trek Picard is gonna, be canceled after the third season. Dude, when they announced the show, they said they only wanted to do 3 seasons. Patrick Stewart is an old man. He doesn't want to be stuck doing Star Trek for the rest of his life, the rest of his life, right? So yes, it's only gonna be 3 seasons of Picard. That's it. Okay, we're getting season 2 with Whoopi Goldberg. Hopefully, him and Patrick Stewart doing some stuff together, which will be great to see. And then season 3, and then we're done. Okay, unless they spin off with the other characters. So that just shows like the level of research and analytical skills that these folks have who create this content, and perhaps even those that actually listen to the content. Okay, so use your noggins. All right, I'm done. Bye bye.